In this video I show you all the steps how I went from this rather simple outdoor kitchen setup to this one.
Ever since I built this cabin, an outdoor kitchen on the terrace has been on the top of the wish list. And finally, the time had come to make that dream a reality. The plan was to build a kitchen with plenty of counter space, strong enough to withstand the sometimes brutal coastal weather here in Norway. And yes, this time there actually was a plan. I designed the entire kitchen in advance using Fusion 360, and therefore I was sure I had all the problems sorted out beforehand. But as always, theory and practice don't always align. It wasn't just smooth sailing, as you will see in this video.
Look at that perfect edge. That went great. Fuck. Nej.
But enough about that now. The kitchen was plan built with pressure-treated lumber, a sink made by composite, self-made countertops made by pour concrete, a sound system, LED strips, electrical outlets, and most importantly, a high-quality stainless steel built-in grill, because a regular steel grill won't last long here on the coast. So please, sit back, relax on the couch and enjoy this video where we build a proper outdoor kitchen at the cabin.
First thing when designing an outdoor kitchen like this is deciding what grill to use. I went for this one, and therefore I need to design the whole kitchen out of these dimensions. 84.5. So the outdoor kitchen that I'm gonna build is going to have a back wall. The grill itself is 60 centimeters, but that is when the lid is closed. If I make the countertop 60 centimeters, then I'm going to be quite sad when testing the grill for the first time. Because when I'm opening the lid, this is going further back than this. So with that in mind, I guess I will design the countertop to be around 75 centimeters.
Some of the advantage of planning ahead is that you can calculate exactly how and how much material you need.
407.
I ended up saving both time and money by ordering precisely what I needed delivered straight to the cabin. And this type of lumber is called Royal Impregnated here in Norway. And unlike regular pressure-treated lumber, it's treated under high pressure and then boiled with a pigmented oil. And this process gives it a longer lifespan, less cracking and maintenance, and a nice finished look right from the start. Since I also knew the exact length of each piece, I specified the minimum length of the materials I ordered. This allowed me to build the kitchen completely without joints in the wood, creating a very clean look. And of course, that might seem obvious, but use a good and sharp saw blade that doesn't splinter the wood. Not only does it save time, but it also gives a much cleaner result. I remember a time when I didn't really pay much attention to it, which in hindsight wasn't very smart. I started by building the base for the kitchen. I laid out those two 2x4s side by side, and then I cut up some 1.5 by 2 inch battens. And then it was just for me to follow the drawing and find the correct placement for those battens. And the reason for adding those battens was to raise the whole base slightly off the ground. This helps with ventilation and reduces contact with moisture from the floor. Always a good idea when building outdoors. Placing the 2x4s next to each other made it easy to transfer the measurements from one to the other using a speed square. Then it was just a matter of screwing them together with some corrosion-resistant screws. This type of screws is called A4 here in Norway. They are extra expensive and corrosion-resistant. Finally, I could just flip the entire base right side up. Just a quick check of the diagonals to make sure everything was square before I screwed it down to the terrace.
So now that the base is done, it's time to make the frame. I have designed it like this, so it should be quite an easy process.
To save time, I figured I could carry all the materials at once. Until I realized I actually had time after all. So I split it into 3 rounds. It wasn't heavy for me at all. And that was a close call. Luckily, I was wearing my safety shoes. Now it was time to build the frame for the kitchen. I designed some chair-like frames that could easily be produced in series and then assembled for each section.
So let's make 7 of each.
Once all the parts were cut, it was easy. I just had to follow the drawings carefully. To prevent the wood from cracking, I pre-drilled. And I also used the same type of screws, only 120 by 6 mm.
So 6 more.
And this was quite some rewarding work, as I now could see hints of how the kitchen would turn out in the end. Then I started with the cladding for the backside. I transferred the measurements from the frames to the first panel, so that the frames were locked in the correct position when I was screwing the panel in. I began with this panel to make sure that the top panels, which will later be installed along the sides of the kitchen beneath the countertop, would fit perfectly without needing to be cut. I figured it would look best that way. And after enjoying 2 hours of good weather, the storms were quickly closing in. And the weather just kept getting worse, so I had to wait until the next morning.
New day.
I install a side support just to lock the frame into the correct vertical position. It will be pretty annoying to finish the whole thing, only to discover it was crooked after. And this day I also got some much needed help of Max. I also forgot that I was doing the back paneling, so I started doing the floors instead. I figured it would be much easier doing the floors inside the cabinets now than after the panels was on, because now I could just push the whole length inside the cabinets. I wanted the floorboard to be flush in the front, and therefore I had to cut off some pieces for the frame. And the easiest way to cut off these pieces was by using the jigsaw. And yes, I know, the jigsaw is meant to be the other way around, but doing it this way, I think it's much easier to follow the lines. And then it was just to... The entire kitchen is planned down to the nearest millimeter, and therefore I knew that the last board near the back wall should fit perfectly without needing a slightest cut. So that's why this didn't happen. Five hours after I was supposed to have breakfast, it was finally time for a little bite. And after some fueling up...
So since I had to do this cut, the board is now weakened a lot. It's also a possibility that it will crack. So I'm gonna cut some blocks and add them on both sides, screw down, and it will be sturdy. Let's do it. I figured I also want to add this, because why not? And now I have something to... So of course there will be some deck boards here in front, but that will also make it impossible to get access under here. And to prevent the underside of the decking to be a trash can like this and under, I can't access it, and this will be quite unpractical. I'm gonna add this. It works. But as you see here, I have not added the back panel board here, because that would have been stupid. Next step now is to add the back paneling, the most easy part. Let's do it. So I really look forward to standing here making food while watching out at this beautiful scenery. There is just one problem. The height of the wall. I'm not 250 centimeters, and my partner is down here. So yeah, it's quite tall. I guess it's not that easy to visualize how it will look in real life when modeling it at the computer. But easy fix. Let's do it. So I guess this will be a great height. Yeah. Guess I should have started at that end. Much better. Yeah.
But after finishing the back wall, I figured it was looking kind of rough. So I decided to cut off the ends by using the track saw. Oops.
So to make this construction sturdy, I'm going to add some base blocks here in front and the same in the back. And this is of course for supporting the bench top, and also locking this sideways like this. But as you can see in my drawing, I have forgotten to add the base block in the back. I'm going to add that too. And also I'm going to update this guide.
Since I have spent a lot of time designing and planning and also building this kitchen, I figured that I could upload a build guide on Etsy. And just to be clear, this video is not about selling a build guide on Etsy, but it is there.
Perfect.
And it has really good drawings and pictures and material list and everything you need to build a kitchen like this. And I think that if you buy the build guide on Etsy for a really good price, it will improve your life in every way. But again, this is not about selling on Etsy, but it is there. And it's cheap and life-changing. Okay, just kidding. But there is another thing. This video, if you like this kind of content, I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, please subscribe to the channel.
And to fix the hole here, I'm gonna do like this. Okay, so finally it's time to make this look nice. I'm gonna start by adding the panel board here for the toe kick. After that we can add the sides. Yeah. 84. So this is my plan. I'm gonna add a board like this with the same height as the toe kick. It's gonna be flush on the inside here, and also it's going to be a board on the other side. And when I do a corner like this, I always try to make so that the whole side is the same thickness as just one board. So in this case, I'm gonna remove 28 millimeters, I guess. And then when I join them together, it's going to be the same thickness. I guess I'm gonna show you anyway, so. So now, if I add these two pieces, it's the same thickness. So not rocket science, but yeah, you know, it's details. Like so. And then I will have to remove that much. Yeah, seems like a match. So I'm gonna try to match this. Like so. Nå er du på YouTube. Oi. Ja. Du prøver å skru? Ja. Bra. Ja, det kunne jeg det. So doing it this way, I now have a total width of 12 centimeters, the same as the whole board. Also, see the sunset. It could have been peaceful if it wasn't for Max. Yeah. Nice chamfer here, same as on this side. So for the side here, I'm gonna add some panels, the same type as for the back side, like so. But I don't have anything to fasten it to, so I have cut up some leftovers. I'm gonna add them like so. And the same on this side. And this way I can mount it. And after adding that one, it's now a very little edge to fasten the back panel on. I will have to add this one. So. I also gonna add the panels all the way up, but I need access here a little bit more. The first panel I'm starting with is going to have the same thickness as this one, and this is also the reason that I started with this exact panel at first. Now I'm gonna end up with a whole board straight up against the countertop. It was a plan. I also need to add a piece there. And then it's just to cut this piece off and we will have a perfect edge. And for the other side, it's just the same process. So I'm just gonna do it like this. 2 minutes, more or less. So now it's soon time for the countertop. I'm gonna make them myself out of concrete. But since I'm gonna have an integrated grill, I'm a little bit worried about the heat. That's why I have this wide open space here. But just to be safe, I'm also going to add a countertop underneath, just as a heat shield and also for good measure and design. And a concrete countertop is heavy, it can't fly. So I will have to add a little bit of angle just for draining. So I'm gonna cut this piece later when I know the exact measurements. But just for now, bad battery. And now comes the part that I have looked forward to the most. I really hope that I can pull this off. Pouring some concrete, making countertops. Easy.
And since I don't have any sponsor in this video, I bought just one sheet of plywood, even though I needed two. So I had to make the best out of what I had. So my plan here was to make a mold for the countertop. In total, there will be 4 different countertops on this build. This countertop should be 4 cm thick. I therefore cut up some planks exactly 4 cm thick. I felt like a pro doing this. So the main reason for using this plastic was so that the concrete won't stick to the plywood, and also it could help me not spilling concrete all over. At least that was the plan. And then there was the sink. I didn't want the sink to be mounted from the top. I wanted it to be glued from underneath because that's a lot nicer. And luckily, to do the markings inside the sink, my daughter went by exactly at the right time.
Yeah. Perfect.
And then I made a little frame exactly matching the inside shape of the sink.
So now I have a matching edge here, like the sink. Since this will be the outside of the concrete, the visible side, I'm gonna just add some So to make the assembly a bit easier, I'm gonna apply some oil to the wood. And my favorite oil of choice is the sunflower oil. It's also the only oil that I have. And I'm hoping that I don't need to add some coating between the wood and the board. I guess that the plastic will act like a seal between it. So. And now it's time for the rebar. Many people, they wait adding the rebar until after, in the middle of the pouring. But since I have done this, bending the metal, I can be sure that the rebar is laying somewhat in the middle and not laying all the way down in the pouring. But another tip is to not laying it this way. It's starting to get late. And finally, it's time for pouring some concrete. A bit too much. Yeah, that's better. So I went for the Weber floor by Weber Cobain. It's a self-leveling, I don't know, concrete. It can handle frost, and it's of course cold here in Norway. It can also be poured from 5 to 40 millimeters, and my countertop is going to be 40 millimeters. And this concrete is also reinforced. I don't know what it's called, but I guess it's some glass fiber or something. Yeah, from 3.2 to 3.4 liters of water. So up to this Gorilla tape, it's exactly 3.3 liters. And this is less than ideal. I only have the battery machines here at the cabin.
And if you have friends, this would have been a great time to invite them on a barbecue. Just don't tell them that there is some minor work that has to be done before firing up the barbecue. They will understand when they get there anyway. And at this point, everything felt like it was going as planned. But as Denzel Washington said the best, at your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you. And I'm not referring to the concrete spilling all over the place.
So now around 20 hours have passed, and I can't wait anymore.
You should have.
And of course the screws is covered up by concrete.
So far, so good.
Aha. And that came out perfect. Look at that perfect edge. That went great.
So maybe I need to explain a little bit. So let's go back.
This is Norway.
Because of the bad weather, I waited one more night.
Let's try again.
Second issue was this bad screw, but I just figured I could bend the frames off. No problem. So of course, that was a bummer, but I thought I could live with that. I may even got to repair it later. But that was not all. Because for some reason, I didn't think Murphy's Law applied to me. In hindsight, this was plain stupid. The countertop weighs around 200 kilos. Lifting it from the middle, yeah.
Fuck. It broke.
So this is me when I'm ashamed. Ashamed of my ridiculously stupid action. All because I wanted to do everything on my own. Like a child. Or in this case, it might have gone better if I just asked a child for advice.
Nej, det går ikke kanskje. Nei, det går ikke.
Det var veldig sånn at det var akkurat der du har jobbet hardt da. For det skulle være helt likt. Men nå har du ordnet rammer.
But okay, enough whining.
This could have been great. Concrete. So this is kind of sketchy. This machine is meant for 125 millimeters, and this is a 180 millimeter blade. And since this blade is bigger, it's also meant for a slower rotation speed than this machine gives. But
I like Sketchy.
So as you see, I have made a draining system. So when I'm pouring concrete and it spills over, it will now go down into this plastic. The same as for the roof.
If it rains concrete, of course.
Another problem I had was these screws, how to get them out, because the concrete will be poured over here and filled up into the screws, making it difficult to get them out. So this time I'm gonna do a little trick. The biggest problem was of course the hole for the sink. It made it kind of weak. So the first time I used this one. Now I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna pour the whole concrete slab and then use the angle grinder and make the hole after.
And this mold is for the slab behind the grill. I cut out the rebar for where the sink was going to be. And also I added some extra rebar because I'm now experienced.
So let's begin. I'm starting with half the bucket.
I added some extra concrete just to try the draining system, because if not, it would have been a lot of work for no reason. Tapping the mold with a hammer helps release trapped air bubbles. My plan was to let it sit for a couple of hours and then go over it with a sander. And this worked great until it didn't. I needed a break, just to think about something else. So we spent the rest of the evening out at sea. If you haven't seen a video of the boat renovation, you can also find it here on this channel. And then I tried to fix up my mess with some new mess, but it sort of worked out. So this is a diamond concrete grinding disc, quite aggressive, so I had to be careful. Then I just packed everything up and went home.
This time I waited a whole week, so let's hope we will get some smoother sailing this time. No cracks. So let's see if the tape trick worked. Yep. This looks really good. A perfect edge here also. And all the way here is perfect. The next issue now is how to get the plywood that's underneath removed without breaking the whole slab once again.
So my plan was to flip the countertop up against the back wall, so that I could easily remove the plywood and then lower it down. So I added this 2x6 under the plywood, so that the forces will be spread out more evenly.
This is also kind of sketchy.
So my reasoning behind doing this all by myself once again was that it all went to shit the first time, so therefore it couldn't go wrong this time. That's actually how this thing works. And also I couldn't see what additional person could help me with doing this. And then it was the most terrifying part.
I guess I will just have to do it. Haha! Need to take off this. Oi, oi, oi. And I will also add a fifth one just for extra support in the middle. Next up now is to add the top board, this right here. It's now upside down or downside up. So this is of course going to be mounted up on the top here. And the reason for mounting it now and not after these panels is because I want to have invisible screws screwing from the downside and up. I'm planning on adding some lead strips, so I'm gonna use the router and make a, I don't know, groove or what it's called. So let's do it. The rain doesn't stop, so I guess we'll have to continue tomorrow. Yeah. And a nice little touch is to swap out the white plastic with these black ones. Nice. I will have to try to fix that. Next up is to make the doors for the kitchen. And I have already cut up all the materials, so it should be quite easy. So the plan is to first screw this frame together, then I will do a little bit of routing. And the reason for waiting with the routing to after it's screwed together is that I don't want to have a chamfer here, only on the inside. And after I will flip this upside down, like this, and I will just attach boards like this with the grooves on the outside. So to assemble the frame, I'm gonna use this jig. It's a pocket screw jig. I like those. So to make the same edge here as for this one, I'm gonna use the router. And also I'm gonna do a chamfer on the inside here, as I said. First thing, spacers, just give it a little gap from underneath, just a third arm.
And finally, it was the moment I had been looking forward to the most. Firing it up for the first time. Yeah, I thought that was funny. But I was not finished yet. I had to finish the electrical work. And luckily I had planned the auto kitchen back when I built this cabin. I ran a dedicated circuit from the fuse box. And after a little while, I could finally test the outdoor lights. And I have to say, things started really to look the way I had planned it, only better. And next step now was to install a stereo.
So I ended up buying this from Polk Audio. So this is a Bluetooth amplifier made by Fusi Audio, and it's actually a little beast. And it can power 2 of these speakers with no problem. So my plan is to mount 2 speakers up on each side, like so. And of course, having the speakers inside the cabinets is ideal regarding the weather and water and so on, but not sound quality. And therefore I have designed and 3D printed some, I don't know, it looks like some air vents. And they are designed to exactly fit the space that I have left under the frame on the panel. So I'm just gonna cut off a little piece here and the same for the other side. And this way I hope to get some decent sound from the speakers inside the cabinets, while also protecting them from the elements. And here you see, this is all the space I have without removing the frame. Haha. Perfect. And finally, Now that both speakers are mounted, it's time to install the amplifier. And to install and house the amplifier, I have designed and 3D printed a box in the Fusion 360. This box will house the amplifier like so, and also the power supply is going in on this side. And this box is designed exactly with the space left in mind. So it will be mounted like so. So it turns out I have a new problem. If you see here, the wood is starting to bend a little bit and the doors are getting crooked. But luckily I have a fix for this. Not a quick fix, but a fix. Let's mount them. So a little bonus by now having the steel frames is that I now have something real great for the magnets to grab onto. So I'm gonna use these 4 kilograms magnets, and that will be the main thing holding the doors closed. I had to make some spacers. So now comes the part I haven't been looking forward to the most, mounting this sink. And as you see, there is no hole for a sink. And the way I'm gonna do it is by using the mag drill, of course made for metal, and this one. A bit sketchy. And of course the easiest way will be to make a hole slightly bigger than this box, like so, and then just drop the sink down. But that's not the nicest way. I'm gonna make the hole exactly like this shape, or like this frame that I have lots of great success with. And hopefully the hole will be nice looking so that I can glue the sink from underneath. That will be the nicest looking way to do it. So this frame, of course, exactly fits the inside of the sink. So I'm just gonna transfer the measurements on the top of the concrete and then start cutting. And to find the exact measurements for where the sink should be placed, it's easy. It's just to measure from the template I have made. And this was, of course, the reason that I made a template, so that I can easily measure. 74, 12.5. So as you see, I want to have rounded corners. I'm gonna mount this diamond saw. And of course, this is a mag drill, and it sticks really bad to concrete, and that's why I brought this 5mm steel plate. And this was a close call. I wanted to make a hole for a sink here, and this is where I placed the... So either I need to find a new placement for the amplifier, or I need to move the placement for the sink. Moving the amplifier it is. Oops. I'm not sure if this will work because there is maybe just one thread that holds it on. First test of the outlet. Now it's stuck on concrete.
And then the single thread that was holding the hole saw on gave up. So I finished the hole by using the angle grinder.
And it's the most sketchy part.
And here I couldn't see anything. So I brought out the air gun, one of my new favorite tools. I use it all the time. Since my first cut was getting out of course, I had to make a new hole. So I cut off some of the metal of the hole saw to get to the threads. But now it was spinning all over the place, but it seemed to work. Next issue was how to get a clean cut all the way down in the corners. Since the blade is round, it's not possible to get it all the way without damaging the corners.
I guess this is stupid, but I have to...
And to my surprise, cutting with a multi-tool actually worked. I was planning to make some supports inside the cabinets, but I didn't. And then it was time to glue the composite sink from underneath. But of course it was 1 centimeter too wide. I need to cut off maybe 5 millimeters on each side. Then I gave it all a good clean with some alcohol. So I'm gonna use this Tech 7. It should be made for almost everything. I was really happy with the result. This was the part that I had been the most worried about, screwing it up so close to the end. But then I figured there was no reason for having a sink without water. And yes, I have a tattoo from Turkey back in 2009. It was a bad decision, but also cheap. So here in Norway it's of course real cold in winters. So therefore I made this setup so that I could easily detach this hose and use my air gun to blow the water out for the winter. And then it was just for me to confirm that everything was fine and not leaking. Luckily it was just a bad seal, so I swapped it with a new O-ring and it all worked out great. And then there was the last step, applying a sealer to the countertop to protect the surface and make cleaning easier. And this exact sealer says it will protect the countertop for 15 years. So remember, subscribe to this channel for the follow-up in 15 years. And after 1 hour it was all dried up and almost invisible. Also, the stereo setup sounded great, but I haven't included any audio because of copyright concerns. But here you can see some clips of how it all turned out. This was a great project, of course with a lot of fails along the way, but that's the best way of learning. I guess learning by doing is the same as learning by failing. And if you want to make this outdoor kitchen or a similar one, I have, as I said earlier, uploaded a do-it-yourself guide on Etsy. It includes all the measurements, material list, detailed drawings and practical tips. And if you're not an experienced builder, then it's just a try. And also, if you use this video as additional help, maybe you don't need to do all the kind of stupid things that I did. Link to the Etsy guide is in the description. And if you come this far in this video, thank you. And of course, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a comment or all that stuff. It's really interesting to see what people think about this build and content. I do this channel for fun, but sometimes it gets a bit overhand. Of course, it takes a lot of effort to do all this filming and editing and all that stuff, so I really hope that this video has some kind of value for people and that it will be watched more than 200 times. So if you're interested in more content like this, please give it a thumbs up or a comment and you will see me again.